Hello students, this is Kanupriya, PGD Geography, and here I am once again with my next video on the very next chapter, which is solar radiation, heat balance and temperature. This is the chapter 9 of book 1, Fundamentals of Physical Geography. So let's start with this chapter. Introduction to this chapter. As we all know, the earth receives almost all of its energy from the sun. The earth in turn radiates back to space the energy received from the sun. As a result, the earth neither warms up nor does it cool over a period of time. Thus, the amount of energy received by different parts of the earth is not the same. This variation causes pressure differences in the atmosphere, and this leads to the transfer of heat from one region to the other region by winds. This chapter will explain the process of heating and cooling of the atmosphere and the resultant temperature distribution over the Earth's surface. So basically, we receive energy from the sun in the form of solar radiations, and because of which the Earth is getting heated up or warmed up. But as we all know, the distribution of the solar energy is not same everywhere over the Earth's surface. There are some places where the insolation or the solar radiations received are maximum, and there are some places which receive less solar radiations from the sun. This causes the heat differences, and as we all know, there is an inverse relationship between temperature and pressure. So if the temperature will rise, the pressure will decrease, and if the temperature is low, the pressure will increase. So basically it will create pressure differences, and which will cause the movement of the air, that is wind, as wind blow from places of high pressure to low pressure. So this chapter will exactly deal with the process of heating and cooling of the atmosphere and the resultant temperature distribution over the Earth's surface. So let's start discussing the first topic of this chapter. So let's start with this. The first topic of this chapter is insolation. The Earth's surface receives most of its energy in short wavelengths. The energy received by the Earth is known as incoming solar radiation, which in short is termed as insolation. As we all know, the shape of the earth is geoid, which resembles a sphere. The sun rays fall obliquely at the top of the atmosphere, and the earth intercepts a very small portion of the sun's energy. On an average, the earth receives about 1.94 calories per square kilometer per minute at the top of its atmosphere. So basically, what is insolation? It is the energy which is received by the earth, which is known as incoming solar radiation, which in short is termed as insolation. So basically, insolation is the energy received by the earth from the sun. The solar output received at the top of the atmosphere varies slightly in a year due to the variations in the distance between the earth and the sun. During its revolution around the sun, the earth is farthest from the sun, which is 152 million km on 4th of July. This position of the earth with respect to sun is called as aphelion. On 3rd of January, the earth is nearest to the sun, which is 147 million km. This position is called as perihelion. Therefore, the annual insolation received by the earth on 3rd of January is slightly more than the amount of insolation received on 4th of July. However, the effect of this variation in the solar output is masked by other factors like distribution of land and sea and the atmospheric circulation. Hence, this variation in the solar output does not have great effect on daily weather changes on the surface of the earth. So basically, insolation received will vary from place to place, and there are a number of factors which affects the insolation process. It also depends upon the position of Earth with respect to Sun. When Earth is closest to the Sun, which is on 3rd of January, that position is called as perihelion, and when Earth is farthest from the Sun, that position is called as aphelion. So basically, when Sun is closest to the Earth, that time the insolation received will be more as compared to the position when Earth is farthest from the Sun. So it is one of the factors which affects the distribution of solar radiations. However, there are a number of other factors which also affects the solar output, like distribution of land and water, angle of inclination, distribution in terms of atmospheric circulation. So these are some other factors that also affects the insolation received on the Earth's surface. Variability of insolation at the surface of the Earth. The amount and intensity of insolation vary during a day, in a season, and in a year. The factors that cause these variations in insolation are: first one is the rotation of Earth on its axis. Second one is the angle of inclination of the sun rays. Third one is the length of the day. Fourth one is the transparency of the atmosphere. And fifth one is configuration of land in terms of its various aspects. So basically we have number of factors that affects the insolation process. We have the angle of inclination. We have the rotation of Earth, length of the day, transparency of the atmosphere, and configuration of land. So these are the different factors with which the insolation received on the surface of the Earth varies in terms of its amount as well as intensity. The fact that the Earth's axis makes an angle of 66.5 degrees with the plane of its orbit around the Sun has a greater influence on the amount of insolation received at different latitudes. The second factor that determines the amount of insolation received is the angle of inclination of the sun rays. This depends upon the latitude of a place. The higher the latitude, the less is the angle they make with the surface of the Earth, resulting in slant sun rays. The areas covered by vertical rays is always less than the slant rays. If more area is covered, the energy gets distributed and the net energy received per unit area decreases. Moreover, the slant rays are required to pass through greater depth of the atmosphere, resulting in more absorption, scattering, and diffusion. So basically, the rotation of the Earth also affects the insolation because Earth makes an angle of 66.5 degrees with the plane of its orbit around the Sun, which has greater influence on the amount of insolation received. Second one is angle of inclination at different latitudes. As we all know, at equator and tropical areas, the sun rays are vertical, and because of which the insolation received is maximum, whereas it gets slant when it moves towards the higher latitudes or to the polar areas. So because of that, the sun rays or the insolation received is less. Third one is the transparency of the atmosphere. We have water vapors, dust particles which are present in the atmosphere, and because of which there is scattering and diffusion of light. Moreover, the cloudiness also affects the insolation that is received on the Earth's surface. So transparency of the atmosphere also plays an important role for the variations in terms of insolation. The next topic is the passage of solar radiation through the atmosphere. The atmosphere is largely transparent to the short-wave solar radiations that come to the surface of the Earth. The incoming solar radiation passes through the atmosphere before striking the Earth's surface. Within troposphere, water vapors, ozone, and other gases absorb much of the near-infrared radiations. Very small suspended particles in the troposphere scatter visible spectrum both to the surface and to the surface of the Earth. This process adds color to the sky. The red color of the rising and setting sun and the blue color of the sky are the result of scattering of light within the atmosphere. So basically, when solar radiation passes through the atmosphere, it has to go through the various water vapors, ozone and other gases, which absorbs much of the infrared rays that comes to the surface of the earth. We have various small suspended particles which are present in the atmosphere, which adds color to the different objects or things which are present in the atmosphere. That is, the red color of the rising and setting sun or the blue color of the sky, it is because of the scattering of light. Now, the spatial distribution of insolation at the Earth's surface. The insolation received at the surface varies from 320 watt per meter square in the tropics to about 70 watt per meter square in the poles or polar areas. Maximum insolation is received over the subtropical deserts where the cloudiness is the least. Equator receives comparatively less insolation than the tropics. Generally, at the same latitude, the insolation is more over the continent than over the oceans. In winter, the middle and higher latitudes receive less radiation than in summer. So basically, how insolation is distributed over the space. In the equator and tropical region, the insolation received is maximum, and in the middle latitude or in the higher latitude, the insolation received is minimum. So basically, the equator receives less insolation as compared to tropical areas because of evaporation. In the equatorial region, we have more evaporation, and because of which we have more cloudiness and more precipitation. But on the other hand, in tropical areas, cloudiness is the least, and because of which the insolation received is maximum. So if we have to compare equator and tropical areas, so the tropical areas will receive maximum insolation than the equatorial region or the equator region. So this is all for today. I hope the topics that we had covered today are clear to you. If you have any doubt, please come up with your doubts. Thank you so much.